Current affairs is concerned, and Simon Kagwanjala is here to ask the interesting questions and the Simon question. Simon, what a week it's been. I saw the conversation between yourself and the Honourable Minister of Local Government on the Morning Breeze.
Oh, goodness.
That was good viewing.
Explosive.
That was very good viewing.
Well, thank you. And tonight, the rider will be the man with the grader is here. Guess who?
Is that NEMA?
Okay.
But what are frogs doing?
NBS Frontline. For years, the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, has defended its mandate to protect Uganda's fragile ecosystems, arguing that environmental conservation is critical for sustainable development. However, as enforcement operations intensify across the country, a growing number of Ugandans say the burden of conservation is falling heavily on communities that depend on natural resources for their livelihoods. From wetlands and forests to the shores and riverbanks, NEMA has intensified crackdowns on what it describes as illegal activities, demolishing structures, evicting settlers, and halting businesses operating in protected areas. While environmentalists commend the efforts, affected communities argue that the operations have left thousands without jobs, income, and alternative sources of livelihood. NEMA maintains that environmental degradation has reached critical levels, warning that wetland destruction is contributing to increased urban flooding, declining water supply, prolonged droughts, and the loss of biodiversity.
We've successfully restored part of Rubiji by removing encroachment in Kawara. We've successfully restored part of Kalidubi by removing encroachment on Bugu, and this process is ongoing.
But critics question whether enforcement has been applied fairly as Uganda pushes towards economic transformation. One question remains: can the country protect its environment without driving vulnerable communities further into poverty? This is The Frontline. Frontline.
Well, a very good evening and welcome to NBS Frontline. I am Simon Kagwanjala. Well, the cameras and the big headlines continue to trend as National Environmental Authority, NEMA, Environmental Management Authority, continues to strike as they conduct demolitions in the name of wetland restorations. Of course, this is also accompanied by closure of quite a number of places, entertainment places, still in regulation of noise, and several other operations. What is very typical of these operations is what has been described as selective enforcement. Well, the man in the midst of all this, who is facing all the fire, all the backlash, is the ED, National Environmental Management Authority, Dr. Kankwasa Barirega, who is my guest tonight, together with the frontliners, Honorable Ofono Pondo and Honorable Odonga Otto, and we'll also be speaking to Mr. Joseph Ongol, the Commissioner, Wetlands in the Ministry of Water and Environment. There are quite a number of questions. Is it selective? Is it at the prompting of the president? Because on a number of occasions when the president has spoken to the nation, he's been quite categoric on the matter of wetland encroachment. Is NEMA finally waking up? Well, Dr. Kankwasa, good to have you and a very good evening.
Thank you very much, Simon. A very good evening to our viewers and listeners. To be
good
here.
to have you. Good to have you, Dr. Odonga Otto and Mr. Ongol. Well, Dr. Kankwasa, you're demolishing houses that have stood for decades. Where were you when they were building?
First, we need to correct the impression. We are not there to break houses. We are there to restore the wetlands in the interest of the wider public, to safeguard people's livelihoods from potential negative impacts of environment degradation, among others, flooding, cleaning of our water, control of pollution of our water resources, air pollution control, biodiversity conservation, among others. So our objective is really to restore environment for the benefit of the wider public. Restore the ecosystems, protect livelihoods, and that's our goal.
Yeah, but while you pursue this, you have a supervision department, an inspection, a fully fledged inspection department that closes their eyes when construction is happening. And then you come later to demolish. Most of these houses actually have plans.
Well, most of the encroachments we've removed, I'm not aware that they have plans. Some could have, but majority I have seen actually are illegal structures. They do not have plans. They do not have physical development committee approvals. And of course, they do not have NEMA certificates as required by law. So the question of why now is a legitimate question. We should have prevented degradation yesterday, but we should not continue to have another yesterday. It is better to do something now. The best time was yesterday, I fully agree, but the second best time to act is now, so that we do not have more damage that we have seen.
What explains your selection, your selective enforcement? We've seen, take for instance, when you are demolishing or restoring the
wetlands,
you spared a petrol station. And this prompted a lot of outrage from the public.
We've been answering this question. First of all, encroachment is a criminal offense. It is prohibited by law. Section 55 of National Environment Act expressly prohibits degradation of wetlands. A capital offense, actually. Up to 12 years jail sentence, up to 600 million fine. So it's a criminal offense. Now, under criminal jurisprudence, we have lawmakers here and lawyers on the panel. When you are enforcing the law, you enforce against those who have breached the law. You do not do universal enforcement. So when people argue that you are doing the exercise selectively, we do not understand. First of all, enforcement must be selective. In which sense? Picking out those who have broken the law and leaving out those who have not broken the law.
Building in a wetland is illegal.
It's a criminal offense.
It's a criminal offense.
Yes.
The petrol station under question was built in a wetland.
The petrol station under question in Rubiji was built on a place which was a material holding ground for the construction of that road, and it went through the due process of environment and social impact assessment. It got a certificate in 2017, long time before I even dreamt of coming to NEMA. So it was established legally, impacts of its existence was assessed, and it was certified as feasible and viable to exist there, because it is immediately next to the road. And the ground on which it is sitting was a material yard for the construction of the road. So it wasn't
So you permit material holding places in wetlands?
You can only hold the materials on a dry portion of the wetland. You can only have a campsite on a dry part of the wetland. It is impossible to hold the materials in water.
No, there was filling of soil in that wetland.
Not true. A material holding yard is already farm. You don't have to first bring soil. Otherwise, if you are saying we remove it, then the road should also be removed because they are in the same line. The road should also be removed.
What's your take on the ongoing operations?
Well, I wrote an article 2 weeks ago, and I said in this chaotic Uganda, actually I said in Museveni's chaotic Uganda, we need some therapy.
Shock therapy.
Shock therapy, that's what I used. Uganda has suffered cumulative weaknesses over the last 8 years. And so we are now waking up slowly by slowly. After sorting out certain things, we now come to see that abuse of wetland is a big issue. There was a time in this country when abuse of a wife in a household wasn't an issue. Abuse of children wasn't an issue. Actually, when I left university over 40 years ago, it was okay to go to your village, pick young girls of 9, 10, 12, 13, and you bring them to your household as your house help. And there would not be an issue. Today, can you do it? Because at that time, we were still dealing with gun criminality. That was our preoccupation. That was not an issue. But today, you can't do it. So, what NEMA is doing now is the right course of action. Probably we can interrogate when they do they do within the confines of the law as is? 2, do they follow the procedures? For example, carrying out public education, that occupation of wetland, degrading wetland, is an offense. Do they tell the public? 2, those that have actually occupied wetland, do they come and tell them that you have committed an offense? And they go through the procedure of warning, cautioning, and giving them the time as stipulated in the law.
In most cases, they issue 21-day ultimatum.
No. I believe even that 21 days must be in the law or in the regulation by the minister and approved by Parliament. Now, he's saying it is in the Act. So we need to find out, do they follow the due processes as laid down in the laws?
What's your observation?
My observation, and having dealt with Uganda and dealing with Ugandans, the overwhelming majority of Ugandans, let alone the ones who are not educated, but the ones who are elite, have some bit of money. First of all, they will ignore the law deliberately in the futile hope that their money will work. Because we have seen in many instances, money and raw power works. If you're a big man, you have seen us, the politicians. I can drive on the shoulders of the road. I can put a siren on my car, and I push everybody off the road, and I get away with it. So, overwhelming majority of Ugandans have seen people get away with illegalities because either they occupy positions of privilege or they have some money.
Does the why now question arise?
And I saw before you rush to blame NEMA, for example, the case of Rubiji. Actually, I remember in the aftermath, they came to this show. I remember we were here, and they came with their batch of papers showing on which day did they issue which notice for people to leave. On your own, remove the things you have planted there. Demolish your building so that you can salvage some materials, some matafari, you can salvage your timber, People didn't bother. And people didn't bother partly because we, the politicians, encouraged them or gave them false hope that there are chances we can plead for them and they stay. What they were going to call a kalemberekerizi. You remember, and this one, I'm not shy to say it. Sometimes it has been from the NRM people, including the president, by the way. And that's just not NEMA. You have seen what we have done with the market vendors. You have seen what we have done with the taxi people. You have seen what we have done with the border people all over the country. Each time we are moving toward this election, you say, first leave white people. Could be the president, it could be the Lord Mayor candidate, could be the councillors. I remember in Tororo, in the last 10 years, when my sister was the woman MP for Tororo.
Opendi?
Honorable Sarah Opendi. And I dare say, the speaker now, Right Honorable Boto, when was our MP, is my MP there. We have the huge swamp called Ligaga, as you cross Busia into Toro, Ligaga. Yes. That's where our people, the people in my constituency, grow a lot of rice. The president actually came there with the former UN representative here, Rosa Marango. They toured the whole of Bukedi. I think the UN had promised Uganda some money to provide for people alternative livelihood. And the MPs of Bukedi, you know, in Bukedi, Tororo, Butareja, Budaka, Parisa, those are areas where people grow rice in wetlands.
Yeah.
And the MPs had an uproar supported by the local councils, and the president had to give in. The president then brought their alternative of fish. But of course, if you are dealing with our kind of society, mindset change takes long. Somebody doesn't believe that they can actually move from rice growing to fish growing. See, somebody. So we need a bit of patience, but the patience in an area where you don't have money. And that's why I want to conclude with for now. I am not sure, because I remember like 2017, although NEMA had been created long ago, they were not being given sufficient money. I think he made a presentation in Parliament where the entire NEMA, including T servers in the offices, they were only 118. Now, at that time, we already had 146 districts. So even if you are to appoint one person every district and one person actually monitor, can they enforce? Of course, our government, we have been running a disjointed government. There's no building synergies. You have a local government, you have a district, you have a sub-county, but who in the sub-county is taking care of the environment or even forestry?
Thank you.
Secondly, they are also sucked in, because can you expect LC3 chairperson who's looking for a vote to evict people from a wetland? Honorable Odonga Otto here has been a vigilante for charcoal, against charcoal burning and charcoal transportation. In other jurisdictions, Honorable Odonga Otto would have been actually arrested for being an obstruction on traffic, because he doesn't have the power to stop vehicles. But I think they were fearing his height and the fact that he was an MP or former MP. That's how he got away with being a vigilante against charcoal transportation and charcoal trade in the north. So I think there are many things that have been cumulative that we need systematic approach, but also being given sufficient resources to implement as we provide meaningful, quick alternative. Taking that particular case of majority of the people who have come here have come because somebody told them, somebody in Tororo, in Mranda, that life is easier in Kampala. You go to a wetland, you don't pay anybody money, you put your shack there, If you have 20,000, you can buy a basket of tomatoes and you start vending tomatoes, and you earn a living. Now, a person who's like that, who's only doing what we call mereyalero, food for today, when you evict them from the wetland or from growing science or doing vending, what next alternative means are you giving them to earn a living every day?
Thank you. Honorable Odonga Otto, We've seen hundreds left homeless in these operations. Should the bid for wetland restoration overtake survival of the wretched of the earth?
You see, these days now you have to be very cautious when you're on TV. But Arengaya, who was a minister in Obote 1, at one time went on cabinet and was telling President Obote, the government is becoming very unpopular, DP is taking rule, the school education is collapsing. Then President Obote started removing his glasses slowly like this. And by the time the glasses reached the table, he said, Batarengaya, shut up your beaks. So Batarengaya went to the washroom, he was sweating. Said, what did I do? And then one minister who was my friend in parliament said, no, these days you first start by praising. Then you bring the problems like however. So if you start by saying the problem, you may be Batarengaya. So for me, I want the ED of NEMA to walk head high. If this was a normal country, you should not even move with escorts. Because he's doing a noble job for the collective good of all of us. Actually, you must be mad to blame NEMA. My only prayer is NEMA should behave like UNRWA, the former UNRWA. Put mark stones in every wetland of Uganda. So that people know, because the actions we are seeing now is more of postmortem.
The encroachment.
Yes, they build, they roof, they even put terrazzo, and then you come with bulldozers. There should be early warning mechanisms before someone even starts putting up a structure in the wetland. They should already know that this is NEMA land. So Parliament, where Fondo Pondo managed to enter through the window among the elders.
Where is that for 25
for
years?
20 years.
20 years.
Yes, we should give money to NEMA so that they make these mark stones and they put all over the wetlands for Uganda. Because this is not what Dr. Akwankwasa is doing for himself or because he needs a job. This is the future of our children.
Yeah, but is it sustainable? What are the chances that the people evicted will leave and another batch that is more influential and powerful takes over?
You see, I understand what you're saying, but putting these mark stones around all the major wetlands in Uganda would serve a great deal. And these mark stones are not palatable for stealing. I've not seen anyone stealing those ones of UNRWA and taking them home. So that is towards more sustainability. But I think two other interventions should come from government. First, we need to change the education curriculum. In the Christmas of 2022, I was in Spain. A family invited me to 400 kilometers from Madrid to a city called Alicante for Christmas. And on Christmas Day, we were going to church. So I was taking Coke. So when I was done, we were almost entering church. I wanted to drop the bottle. But in the bins, you know, for them, it's clearly marked red, green. That is where you put plastic bags, metals. So as I was wanting to drop it in one of the tins, and then Rodriguez, my Spanish friend, said, no. 1, 2, 3 is not for tins. For tins is like 600 meters away. We need first to walk there, drop it, then we come back to the church. Ufono is laughing. I think you are the people who drop caveras out of the car windows after taking your yoga. This is a different thing.
It's going to be like the man from Agago where.
So I asked Carlos Rodriguez that what was bothering you if I dropped a metal in a place for plastics? He said two things. One, I love my country. I cannot do that for my country. Now, this is where the education curriculum comes in. Patriotism is not rolling in mud in Chankwanzi and singing songs. Oh, no. It is making you know that you should not drop a cavera in the streets. Secondly, he said, all these teens have scanners. So if they go to the Lubiji where they drop the rubbish, they have companies that scan the tin. So they are going to trace this tin that I bought it with my card, and they will bill me in my house $2,000. So it is not advisable to do it. So other than going to start chasing people, Caveras. This is a country of Cavera. Executive Director, NEMA. Cavera. The whole country is littered with Cavera. Simon, I'm very disappointed that today, again, the president of Uganda, that Ugandans voted for, the parliament had proposed an increased tax on plastic items. And today, President Museveni, yesterday, has refused that is destroying investors. There is a time in parliament, we moved a motion banning plastic bags in the whole country. The late Aggrey Awori came with another counter motion that we are killing investors. Until parliament reached a resolution that they will only allow plastic caveras or polythene bags at 31 microns. That below 31 microns is the cutoff point.
Yeah, but another controversy
but let me just finish this.
Is about the selectiveness of the operations.
No, forget about the houses. The houses, I've told you what I think, but this caveras is killing us. So, they say 31 microns. Maybe the ED or the scientists would explain to us. How can we distinguish that this polythene bag is 31 micron? I don't know whether the one above or below is dangerous.
The 30 microns and below was prohibited. Above 31 microns was allowed. But as you are saying, human eye cannot distinguish between 30 and even 40.
Yes.
That's why enforcement failed. And we are now back to the drawing board. We have a cabinet paper for banning, total banning of single-use plastic.
That is where I am. Because you go and buy a sweet in a shop, they give you a cavera. You buy a toilet paper, they give you a cavera. Can't we learn from Rwanda? Rwanda has gone. You know, those days, we even tried for 1 week. Nasa Road was adapting now to pack bread in paper bags, disposable paper. Just within 1 week, there was fast adaptation. So I don't know who advises the president. Ufondo, you tell us. How can the president rescind and bring to parliament something that degrades the environment?
On environment, it's your sister, Beauty Sanywa.
And if I were the minister of environment, I would, like what Balaam is doing, which people should thank him. We would move trading center by trading center. Where there is reckless disposal of cavera, they close all the shops in those trading centers. Because we are destroying our environment.
Yeah, but remember, there is also a bit of political correctness. Like Oo said, sometimes the president closes an eye for his voters, for the Muntu wa Wansi. So how come this time the president is sounding really tough?
You see, for the president to say we should lower the taxes on polythene bags, imported plastic materials for making polythene bags because it is destroying investors, that one, the president is, in my opinion, is absolutely wrong. And this is now where the president needs to be engaged in public platforms. Because let me say this.
How about on demolitions?
These caveras take 200 years to decompose from the environment.
Yeah.
So if some people know that now they cannot live in this world for 20 years, we still have young children who are 2 years old. It should be a question of fact that caveras are bad.
I want to take you
and maybe this is where PLU should come in, because PLU is like no nonsense. If they wake up on the issue of caveras, you will see what will happen. So ED, NEMA, you move thumbs high. I pray you even live long. What is happening is to protect the humanity.
I want to pick your perspective as a lawyer, because normally there is what we call social justice. There are social safety standards that are always in place for such people. For instance, when their houses are demolished, they have to be settled and compensated. Do you think NEMA is being ruthless and very inhuman?
Actually, those people should even pay NEMA for restoring the environment.
In fact, the law requires that when you are removed, you are supposed to compensate government for the cost of removing the encroachment. But the president, in
so you want to say you are lenient?
The president, in his magnanimity, gave he forgave them and said, if you leave voluntarily, you will not be charged. So the president gave the people amnesty. That's why we are not prosecuting them. As long as you are removed, you are supposed to be prosecuted.
Sorry, I'll ask you again. Do you find it sensible that you give a person who has occupied a piece of land for years just 21 days?
I think there is a misconception on the 21 days. So this is the procedure. When somebody has encroached on a wetland, and you do an inspection and confirm that they have encroached on a wetland, the first point is you engage the local leadership, LC1s. You convene community meetings to tell them that, look here, you are in a wetland. There is demarcation, physical demarcation to say you are in a wetland. After that, you are given a restoration order. A restoration order gives you notice of 21 days. This is in the law. Now, within 21 days, you are supposed to do two things. Either to accept that you are there wrongfully, and you accept and you are going to go away, and you go away within 21 days, or seek for more time to go away, or within 21 days, you appeal the order and say, you have served me an order wrongfully. I'm here rightfully. And then the matter goes to a tribunal. So the 21 days is not that within 21 days the world must have ended, you must have left. No. This is legal notice to you, service notice. So within 21 days you can appeal the order, you can seek for more time to leave. So it is notice that you are in breach of law. Do you accept? Do you not
before
accept?
I engage Mr. Ongol, do you agree that you're just waking up? Too little, too late?
Well, we've had evictions even before I came, in 2017, 2022, 2003. There were evictions actually. You remember Nyakana's house, which was broken long time ago. So this is not new. Maybe the scale could have increased and consistency, but the procedures of evicting people have been there. Wetlands have been restored before, even in Rubiji. Rubiji has been restored before. So maybe the scale, but this is not new. So it's not that you may say that it is a little late. Yes, I agree. We could have done better, but it is not too late to act. If I may give you statistics, in 2015, Uganda was remaining with 8.9% of its land surface covered by wetlands. Because of these efforts, we are now at 9.3 intact wetlands and 13.9 overall coverage of wetlands. And we stand tall. In the East African community, the average is 10%. We are at 13. At Africa level, the average is 6%. We are at 13. So,
well, Mr. Ongol, you're very technical in this. Could you share with us the magnitude of wetland abuse that is calling for restoration, the justification of restoration?
Okay, thank you. Before I go there, I wanted to correct some of the misconceptions which people are saying. One, the law prohibits channeling in a wetland, building, farming, but it says unless you have got permission from the authority.
Channeling, what is channeling?
Digging drainage channels in wetlands to dry the wetland for you to go to grow crops, unless you have written approval from ED of NEMA. So if the ED of NEMA at that time, in his wisdom, found that permitting Starbucks was the right thing, it was right within the law. So you cannot put him at the same footing with somebody who has got no permission. That's number one. Then the second one, which I want to correct, is saying that where was NEMA when people are building? In 2011, if you were in Kampala, the veterans tried to settle in Lubiji. And at that time, I remember the minister was the late Mutagamba and so on. They went and flushed the veterans from Lubiji. There were no settlers there at that time. Lubiji was intact. So these people were in Lubiji, settled there recently. In 2013, we put pillars along the boundary of Lubiji wetland. They removed them, they settled. So they came
How about
there.
in Kalidubi?
The same. They settled there, knowing that they were coming to settle in a wetland which boundary was demarcated for them. And two, last day I was talking to my colleagues. Last week I was up country. When I was in Oyam, a train center called Digo, I got some people talking there that the RDC of the district has put pressure on them about digging in wetlands, growing rice. Now they're going to be using the moonlight to plant at night. So we are here, they could be now doing their planting. And now tomorrow they are going to ask us, where were you? We could have been in NBS talking, they are there planting, building houses. And we have 8,613 wetland systems gazetted in the country. Against how many people? NEMA, they are, I don't know what the number is, but in wetlands, we are about 50 also people.
Just information. Near Digo there in Lira, at night, one of the nightclub owners called me that he wants a very powerful lawyer. NEMA has just collected all their music system. And I was very happy in my heart that NEMA is even moving at night. So they are busy collecting, they are controlling sound. I thought of also sharing. Much as others are planting rice at night, the NEMA is removing the music system from the nightclub.
The next one, we went to Tororo to demarcate Ligaga wetland. When we had gathered, people were talking. One of the local leaders started telling people that my people, when I'm with these people, don't think I'm with them. Me, I'm with you. You open your ears from this side to the other side, let them talk. Because when they are coming here, they will always say hello in my office. I will always tell you that they are coming. And he didn't know that I would pick.
That's the swamp I was referring to.
Nelly Gaga.
Yes. So, that the effort is not being done, but also it is not an easy thing to do. Now you have asked about
the extent
of wetlands. In 1994, we had about 37,560 square kilometers of wetland. Now we have about 33,600. We have lost 2.5% of the wetland coverage. We can't recover them. And we have about 4.7%, which is degraded, could be under rice field, which can still be recovered. And that is where we are now trying to do some restoration and recover.
Why do you go for human settlements and spare big investments like factories? I'll give you a typical example. Just here in Busega, by the roundabout, that place was filled in broad daylight.
Which place?
The milling place around Busega.
I think that's a misconception which has been common. The Mandela Mirrors.
Yes.
Mandela Mirrors has never been a wetland. we can go on satellite images. We've done this analysis because it kept coming. Mandela Mirrors, where they are located, is where the road used to pass before changing the routing. So where they are located has never been a wetland. They may be a wetland. That's true. But where they are located is not a wetland. And if you want
but there was feeding.
No. In fact, there was excavation. Those of you who have passed there recently, you know, we had a problem of a heap of soil there, which was causing uproar amongst the public. The people in Busega were about to protest that there is a mountain coming up, which is about to close a road. So they were excavating actually soil to build an underground part of the factory. So it is not true that the Mandela Mirrors is in a wetland. But as coming back to your question, it is true there are many factories in wetlands. Namamve is one example. Yes. Mbale China, Uganda Partnership Park is in a wetland. So in the past, industrial parks were established in wetlands. Why? Because that's the easiest land the government could get to give investors. But since 2021, the president issued a directive. No new factories.
Okay. But
in
by
wetlands.
law, are these factories legally?
Yes, yes, yes. They were allocated there by government. They went through due process.
Which statute then?
The National Environment Act, the Uganda Investment Authority Act. The NEMA, for example, was gazetted as an industrial park. Titles were issued. Government issued lease titles owned by UIA to investors. So they are there legally.
Because it sounds now that the only lawful person that can encroach the wetland is government. That is how you're sounding. But other individuals, no.
No, but we have people who are also using their wetlands legally. We've just talked about Stabex is not government. The Stabex we were discussing is not government. We have several other people who are not necessarily government.
Speak Resort Munyonyo.
No,
Part of it is a wetland.
I thought this.
Speak Resort Munyonyo is a lake shore. Lake shores are allowed to be developed for recreation. In fact, recreation resorts, marinas are meant to be in lake shore. But to do so, you must have conducted an environment and social impact assessment, and you must be guided.
I see a bit of a contradiction here.
No, I don't think. I think it's a lack of information, probably on your part, Mr. Moderator. This is how the law works. The law cannot say don't, or when it does don't, it provides it gives a proviso, the exception, and what is the exception? That the government or an authority, for example, KCCA, can go to NEMA and applies for the gazettement of land. Could be wetland, could be lake shore, could be whatever. And says, for example, where you have been having a school, KCCA can go to National Environment Authority, Minister of Lands, Physical Planning, and says, we are applying to remove the school in order to put a business center.
Sugarcane.
That's allowed in law. And I think that's what the government of Uganda did in the case of Namamve, in Namamve for industrial park. Because remember, that was the time when we were so thirsty as a country
for industries,
that we want industries.
Yeah.
Private people, you remember, were already given away land being owned by the Ugandan. If the Ugandan is asking for 1 billion for half an acre of land in Mulanda, I think at that time the government thought it was better.
These double standards. You say
if it is in the law, it can't be double standard. It would be double standard. If it is not in the law, it is not in policy. But if the law allows the government to allow anybody else to apply for land use change, that's perfect in the law.
I want to get back to Joseph. Just a bit. I want to get back to
Except if you say that there are factories sanctioned by government without changing land use and without following the due process of NEMA, of UIA, and other places.
I want to get back to Joseph.
Yes.
Do you see some bit of miscoordination, interagency miscoordination, where some agencies will permit construction, or some agencies in desperate search for land will go for wetlands, yet there is a wetland policy that insists that wetlands must remain preserved?
I don't think so. You see, what I said before, people have not understood what the law on wetland is. It's always trying to say that the law has prohibited what should be done there, but has given a waiver that if you are to do it, then you have to follow A, B, C, D, and you are legally permitted to do it, because there are things which we cannot do outside a wetland. Like, let's say, a sewage lagoon should be in a wetland. So the law has given a way out, which is in most other cases, a law prohibits something, but it gives an exception that in these circumstances, it can be done. So it's not like it's a blanket no. That's what people should understand on the law as it is now on wetlands.
Okay.
And then
as it is again, there's despair for settlement.
That is
why would the law cater for?
That is what I was coming to. What we need to understand, let's take a simple example, an acre of a wetland. An acre is, let's say, 40 by 100 meters. It's about 4,000 square meters. Assume the water height in that 1 acre is 1.5 meters. Those are 6,000 meters cube. 4,000 by 1.5 give us 6,000 meters cube of water in an acre of a wetland. That's about 6 million liters of water in a wetland. What we're seeing in Lubiji there, where it has been restored, some people call it eviction, but we're calling it restoration. In an acre there, we are bringing back 6 million liters or 6,000 meters cube of water. What can this water do? Suppose we are going to use this water for irrigation. Can irrigate for you over 10 acres of tomatoes, of onions, of cabbages, of passion fruit. Now, that is 1 acre. You can keep over 240,000 fish in that 1 acre of 6,000 meters cube of water. How much money can you get from there? But somebody is converting it into his residential home. Now, how about now the other functions this 1 acre of water can carry? 1 acre of water, of a wetland like that, can purify wastewater, sewage water, about 10 meters cube of water, sewage water, before it reaches Lake Victoria. It purifies it up to 90% of heavy metals and pathogens. So if we don't, we think that we are not being mindful about people's fate, and we allow them to be there. As you strike now, let me first complete. And we allow them to settle there. These are people who don't have toilets. If they have toilets, if it rains, they open it. This raw sewage will end up in the lake. And we have ever seen the smell of Lake Victoria of recent, around February, March, because of that kind of behavior. And remember, we drink water from Lake Victoria through national water. So by restoring it, we are even protecting the health of people of Kampala. How about hydroelectricity? The silt which goes into the lake. We have our power stations dotted along the River Nile. If you happen to cross River Nile and you see the color of water in Nile, the debris, and the flash flood threatens our power stations. At times now, we have problems of steady power supply because of what? Silt. So by restoring Lubiji and other wetlands, we are helping. People should look at it on a positive side than looking at the negative aspect of it only. Thank you.
We're taking a very short break, but these ongoing demolitions have also
no negative aspect.
Restorations, not demolitions.
Well, you're demolishing.
Correct.
But there is now a huge divide between the influential. I've seen you, for instance, around after Kajansi, as you drive to Kazi, Busabara. You're sparing houses. You're sparing big mansions and going for small houses.
Simon, just there. You are the same person who is saying that it is the small people who have gone to the wetlands, and now we are citing big people. So the encroachers into the wetland are not just small people only.
Yes. Why are you sparing? Okay, why are you sparing mansions?
Very good question.
For small houses.
Very good question. You see, when we are enforcing the law, we enforce against those who have broken the law. And if you've been following, even in Rubiji, structures up to 3 stories were put down. These are not poor people. We removed the tax park in Rubiji. I don't think that poor people can own a tax park and run it. The buildings we've removed on Busabara, some of them were very serious buildings.
How about those you've spared?
No. We've spared those which are outside the wetland. We've restored the wetlands on Masaka Road where tall buildings were removed, warehouses. Even within Namamve, after the president's directive of stopping further construction of factories, unlawful constructions there have been put down. So it's not true that we look out for poor people. First of all, how do you determine the poor people?
There are quite a number of houses in Chigo. With your recent operation,
yes,
quite a number of houses in Chigo remained standing.
No, the houses you are talking about in Chigo have been profiled have been marked and restoration orders have been issued. So it's a due process, like I said before.
Why did you rush for this? Why did you go for this first?
These ones were issued restoration orders as far as 2023. In fact, refugee restoration orders were issued in 2023. And they have been reminded. But because of, as Honorable O was saying, we have this thinking that somehow things will die out. So there is high affinity for impunity. So until the tractor comes, that's when people think that now it is real. So these people were issued restoration orders in 2023. It's not 21 days as you've been putting it. We've been in the courts. Honorable Rukwago used to be their lawyers. They went to the tribunal. Some of them even went to court. So it has been a protracted journey. It's not a flash operation. So even the ones of Chigo who have been profiled and issued restoration orders, it's a due process. Watch your space tomorrow. Let's see. You watch news tomorrow. You may see some big fish being touched. We've started an operation called Samaki Kubwa, only targeting Samaki Kubwa. So watch out for.
In Gulu, when they were
watch out for
those illegal structures in front of the houses, they broke in all the streets except one, and that one they were very clear. They were telling the city council, "You touch it, we shoot you." Those are our orders. So you should also sympathize with the Kamkwasa. There are limits of his.
Let's take a very short break. Is NEMA being selective? No. We'll be back.
NBS Frontline.
Can I have a light, please? What is this?
Castle Light, the best testing light.
Try it.
Try it, try it, try it. Da, 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 da.
Guys, look at this post.
Nothing hits like extra cold. Castle Light. Try it.
The problem is the foundation.
Do you know the kind of cement I'm using in this foundation? I guarantee you even my grandchildren will come and find this house.
You buy your buy today and get the job done. Strong, reliable, available at hardware shops countrywide.
Why pay for someone else's repairs? Say goodbye to hidden costs and hello to peace of mind of a brand new start. Discover the Suzuki range of unmatched, fuel-efficient and reliable options. From the iconic Jimny to the new Across Hybrid. Find the perfect blend of style and world-class efficiency. Upgrade today and enjoy 1 year of free fuel and comprehensive insurance, plus 2 years of free service and a 3-year warranty. Trade in your current car or choose financing to start driving as you pay installments. Don't wait. Visit the Suzuki showroom today or call 0800-211-033 to get started.
Uganda is moving forward. And at the heart of that movement is the most extensive fiber network in East Africa, with more than 15,000 kilometers of fiber and over 5,000 telecom mast sites. Soliton Telmec is the backbone that enables Uganda's telecom and digital infrastructure, connecting government services, businesses, homes, universities, hospitals, banks, villages, and telecom masts. We don't just build networks. We maintain and commercialize critical infrastructure that supports national development. East Africa's leading fiber company, connecting Uganda with the most capacity. Soliton Telmec, building networks for life.
We We understand that everyone yearns for a clean, tidy, and convenient working environment. That's why 7-Star Cleaning Services, we strive to provide highly customizable cleaning solutions using environmentally friendly chemicals, state-of-the-art equipment, and well-trained workforce for our clients. Visit our head office, Plot 4691, Ntinda Chisasi Road. Contact us on our official lines 0393 243 503 or visit our social media platforms. 7-Star Cleaning Services, a remarkable difference.
So tasty, delicious, some snacks.
Some snacks.
So yummy, yummy.
Yummy, yummy.
Some snacks. It's so tummy, tummy. Just to grabbing when you're hungry. Some snacks. So yummy, yummy.
Hello, boy and girl, come here, son. Uncle Son's got you. Me have some snacks for you. Your man, papa, your granny and your picnic. Well, if I can, the snacks for you. Come pick anything you want. Some snacks for your tummy, tummy. Yummy, yummy.
Sam's, delivering memorable moments in every household.
We don't need anyone's permission to move forward. What we need is the power to do it our way. Spiro is not your typical EV company. It's the power grid for African ambition. A network that connects Nairobi to Kigali, Lagos to Lome, Dar to Kampala. Not with cables and wires, but with clean, quiet, relentless movement. This is Africa, powered by us.
You wanna make tasty food and sales. You wanna do that dancing still. Can't one no ya night. Sika de buto one night. Nailo akro ya sika. Sika de buto one night. Can da nenga no ya night. Sika de buto one night. Can da nenga no ya night.
Better, sell better with modern healthy cholesterol-free cooking oil and modern non-sticky wheat flour. Modern Yenyabo, available countrywide.
NBS Frontline.
Welcome back. It's the Frontline as we make sense of the ongoing restoration of wetlands by NEMA. It's a campaign that is spanning across the country, but the bigger focus.
Simon, you have now succumbed to a legacy.
I want to be nice to my
right
guest.
word.
I didn't know you were a coward.
Where is that sense of remorse for hundreds of people whom you leave homeless with nowhere to go? And you don't seem to have anything to do with social safety standards.
I think we need to approach the issue holistically. If you look at it from the holistic point of view, by removing people from a wetland, you are saving their lives. It could have been worse. You've heard about what happened in Nairobi. 38 lives were lost.
Where you
in urban flooding. Ghana this week, 12 lives were lost in flooding of the city because of people occupying wetlands. So we could have lost the lives of these people. I know it may be painful to lose your investment. All of us sympathize with that. But you are protecting the greater good, including the good of the people that you are removing.
I find this rather intriguing. Most of these people genuinely bought plots of land.
Absolutely no. That's not true. That's what
obtained titles.
No, that's what social media has fed you. In Rubiji, for example, nobody had a title. They had ROC letters, and the ROCs took off. You can't get any of them because they sell these plots, get quick money, and disappear. They were like two people who had Chapa Mungaro from Buganda Kingdom, and even the Chapa Mungaro had very clear conditions. You use the land subject to environment regulation. It is even in the conditions of Buganda Kingdom Land Board. So it's not true when you hear people saying, we've been here 40 years, we've been here 30, it's not true. Don't fall for social media propaganda.
Look at 100 plus people, homeless, wailing, uncertain of their future.
Who says homeless?
Yes, they are homeless. Once you demolish their houses, where do you send them to?
Where did they come from? Where did they come from before going?
There is what we call in law contributory negligence.
No, but I think you're being
build
inhumane and remorseless.
No.
Someone builds a house when NEMA is watching.
No.
But
what do you mean NEMA is watching?
Simon, did you read the history of England, Victorian England? There's a law called the 5 Mile Law, ordinance. Why you see those other countries are the way they are, the order you admire, the discipline you admire, they had some laws which were very, very rigorous. For example, there was a law against vagabonds. If you come to Kampala, you must demonstrate to the Kampala authority that you have a means of living, of sustaining yourself in Kampala. You don't just live in Rwanda and come to Kampala. You don't live in Mitiana and come to Kampala, somehow hoping to live. So,
these are the people who give you votes, and now you turn against them.
Yes.
Even if you see, must we protect them because they are?
You see, Uganda. I told you cumulative effects. Uganda has been turned upside down. Now, some of you think what is abnormal is what you see as normal.
Surprising.
Like now, we are members of parliament. Do you think MPs are those who should be buying ambulances? Do you think so? They shouldn't. MPs should hold the government to say, Mr. Government, this financial year, we want so many ambulances. If you don't, we don't pass the budget. That's what ought to be. But we have turned the country upside down, and it has now become normal for an MP to buy some kwara and put it there and say it's an ambulance. An ambulance, those things they call an ambulance, is not insured.
Which even carries dead bodies. Ambulance should not carry dead bodies.
Yes, they are not insured. So, please, what NEMA is doing and what other departments of the government are doing is where I agree with you that we should give them adequate notice, reminders, and so on. And then enforce. For example, yes, I agree. When you come with your bulldozer and the woman is cooking, there is no point to step on their sigiris.
No, but they start cooking when they see the graders.
Exactly. Now, if you find out that that's what they do. Now, you, the journalist, when you come here and say,
there is the case of being humane.
No.
Humane.
No.
In fact,
the judges sentence people to death and after direct they're hanging. Are you going to say they're not humane? Now, they are doing within the law. They are sending you to be hanged within the law. And you, who's a journalist, who's our moderator here, this thing has been going on for the last 2 years. I would have expected that through your news system, you collect those things you purport to be titles. So that's when we're having this debate.
They are not there.
Probably you flash there. We now have Kinawataka here, down here. Could you ask your reporters to go and find out if out of 100 we have 10 who say they have valid land title issued by KCC?
Okay, I want to ask Dr. Kankwasa before I go to Joseph.
Yes.
What if some of these people bought land without understanding whether it is in a wetland?
But that's what
ignorance of the law is no defense, but that's not the issue I want to explain. I wanted to first explain.
No, because the distinction between a wetland...
No, the wetlands are very, very easy to see. In fact, to see a wetland is very easy than seeing a forest, because you can have a central forest reserve where it is land gazetted but without trees. So a forest may be more difficult to see, a central forest reserve, than a wetland. A wetland is defined traditionally, a place which is seasonally or permanently flooded with water, and because of that water flooding, plant life has adapted to that environment.
I
You
buy
can
land in
clearly
a dry
see,
season or land that is being filled.
if you are not sure about the status of the land, you are free to come to NEMA, you are free to come to Ministry of Water and Environment, Wetland Department, and you do due diligence for free. We don't charge you a coin.
You don't want to hire lawyers.
We don't charge you a coin. It is free service. We can issue free service. But the point, I don't want to lose the point of where were you and why now. The Constitution, Article 17, I think, places an obligation on every citizen to create and protect a clean and healthy environment. Then in Article 39, the state is obligated to ensure and guarantee that safe and healthy, clean and healthy environment. So the primary responsibility for protecting environment is actually not NEMA, it's not government. It is you and me, the people. So when you say where was NEMA, yes, it is a legitimate question to ask. We should have stopped it because prevention is better than cure.
You have an inspection department.
Well,
does it strike when the president speaks?
Anywhere in the world, I'm not aware of any country that has capacity to police every inch of its land to ensure that what goes on there is illegal. It's not possible. People who feel wetlands, they feel at night. If they didn't know, why do they do it at night? Why do tractors and these magurukumi, sino trucks, why do they move at 3 a.m.? So people do it when they know. It's not ignorance. But anyway, even if it was ignorance, you are aware ignorance is no defense. So the question of where was NEMA is legitimate, yes, but the citizen, a law-abiding citizen, is expected to obey the law. You don't have to be fast policed. Even if NEMA had 1 million soldiers, it wouldn't be prudent that NEMA or Ministry of Water will place enforcement personnel everywhere to see what you are going to do at night, what you are going to... No.
Mr. Ongol, you are the supervising ministry to NEMA. Do you have a work plan of any kind on how they are doing their things? Are you in sync with whatever they are doing? And what should the public be expecting in the short and long run?
Okay, I would say that we normally work together. And I wanted first to start by answering what you asked the ED about why at times we demolish or we restore smaller structures, we leave the big ones. Is logical reasoning. If I have funds, and our objective normally is about increasing the coverage of wetlands. If I find that the funds I'm having, and I go to an area which is consisting of drainage channels created, crops, I can recover 10 acres of wetlands using that money. But if I go for a bigger structure, I can't even restore a quarter an acre. Logically, I would go for where I will recover more, because that is where we shall have more water, we shall have more wetland plants filtering wastewater. So it's just logical reasoning. We don't need to think much about it. We shall always continue doing that.
So that
because
logic favors the big fish. The logic favors the big fish.
Whoever we shall gain more wetlands, we go for that.
Yeah, but it's
because
discriminatory
of
now.
Because of funding.
Does public perception matter?
It does.
Public perception now holds that you're going for small fish and sparing the big fish.
Simon, but why do you want to take the live wire? You know very well what live wires do on people. So this thing is like Morocco. Whichever person you save, like if I save Ufondo Pono, they all church celebrates.
Yeah.
So whichever part of the wetland we recover, we first celebrate, then start planning on the other one.
But the discrimination is the big question.
No, but what do you call discrimination?
Mr. Ongol,
treating differently.
I'm saying it is illogical reasoning. That is discriminating it.
My friend,
then
just abandon that argument.
He was asking, why are you favoring 100 people against the entire population of Kampala. These 100 people you are talking about who are settled in a wetland, that's where they stay. They don't have toilets. That's where they're growing tomatoes, they're growing yams, they're growing sugarcane, selling to people, eating poisoned food, eating tomatoes full of heavy metals, full of pathogens. These are people who are polluting Lake Victoria, and the entire population of Kampala is eating, drinking poo from their area. And you are saying somebody is not being objective in what he's doing. Should we save the entire population of Kampala and by restoring where these people are staying? First of all, these people, where did they come from? And if you look at them, they have just settled there in less than 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, but this is guided by policy.
Before you
the eviction or demolition is guided by policy.
Yes.
Do you have social safety standards or measures in place for resettlement, for compensation, or you just leave them like the wretched of the earth?
I've never seen criminals being compensated.
These are criminals?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Settling in a wetland is a criminal offense.
Why would they be removed if they are not criminals? They would have gone to court by now. You would see civil suits.
It's like giving a rapist something because he put a defense that he was badly off. This is a crime.
It's like somebody stealing money in a bank and they say because he was poor, he had needs, he should be let free.
By the way, we are saving them because if we take them to court, they are bound to pay 600 million Ghana shillings. Degrading a wetland is an offense punishable by 12 years in prison or 600 million Uganda shillings.
Do you have a sense of letdown by the local authorities who collude with these people or with the land dealers to sell off?
I've just told you a story where I was talking about saving a wetland and wanted to demarcate. And as we are talking to people, one of local leaders was telling people that open your ears from right to left. When they talk, enjoy their talk, don't ask them, clap for them, but you continue growing your rice. Because when they are coming, they always pass by my office, and I will always inform you that they are coming.
Okay, like O said, it's more of shock therapy. Getting these houses demolished is more of shock therapy. Is there a sustainable program to ensure that wetlands are preserved for years?
Yes.
Where is it?
We have a strategic plan for the management of wetlands in Uganda. We are on course to increasing its coverage. We were at 8.9. We are now at 9.3. We want by 2040 to reach at least 12% intact wetlands coverage in Uganda.
Just the other day, Dr. Kankwasa,
yes, Simon.
a few years ago, there was a group of Chinese investors who were excavating sand.
Yeah.
You are aware of them?
In Luera.
In Luera and in Busiro South, I think it was Kasanji, somewhere in Kasanji. You looked on.
Not at all.
Even as we speak today,
no.
They're still doing the excavations.
We mounted operations in Ruera, arrested several people, and they were prosecuted, and unless you didn't follow, of several nationalities, which I will not go into, but they were convicted and they paid hefty fines.
Chinese, moreover.
I don't want to mention nationalities. There were several nationalities and some Ugandans. So in Ruera, we've mounted several operations there, but the problems are still there. The problem with Ugandans, the level of impunity is just unimaginable. You mount an operation today, clear the place. Less than 1 month, people come back with their tractors. We had an operation in Ruera less than 2 months ago. We destroyed about 38 boats. People are now scooping sand using boats. Over 38 boats were destroyed. Less than 3 weeks, they are back. But we shall not get tired. What we need to do is really to empower the local government environment structures so that a DPC, a cow, a parish chief, a sub-county chief can use the enforcement resources available to prevent such degradation.
Yeah, but they are accomplices in most occasions.
Well, I don't want to point fingers. We can have shortfalls, all of us can have shortfalls, but they also don't have adequate capacity. But if we took advantage of existing enforcement structures, in every district there is a DPC, there is regular police. That can be the starting point.
Politically speaking, how does the image of the NRM now come off? That after elections...
I don't like, we call
but
it...
you have not even had the question. You already have the answers.
Tribal, I have had.
Have you finished the question?
You have wax in your ears, I think. But mine are clean. Tribal profiling, racial profiling is not good for you as a journalist of repute, or we think of repute. Because there's no Chinese who can on their own go to Luera to start mining sand.
No, they were doing it in full glare of cameras.
I am saying there's no Chinese who will come from China or from whichever part of the country, lands in Uganda, and there's no Ugandan aiding him or her in the commission of that office. And that's why it is not necessary, it is unhelpful to racial profile. They must be having business partners, somebody who told them there's good sand in Luera, there's good sand in Majanji, there's good sand in Senyi, in Sidea, in Bukunja. So that's what we should deal with.
That's a big problem.
Yes. Ugandans, sometimes, quite often, they are, in quotes, powerful people. Could be a minister, could be a member of parliament, could just be a business person. So those are the people we should tackle. Those Chinese, in my view, for them, they are looking for business opportunity, and then they find accomplices, local people. They're the ones who sell them the land. And find even for them a local market, because how would the Chinese know that Ofono is building in Mukono? So he wants 100 tons of sand.
No, the sand was being taken to China.
But I'm saying they have been supplying here. They have been supplying here. So now you had asked the image of NRM.
Politically speaking.
First of all, NRM believes that we should have a fair hand, even hand. And remember, I told you earlier on that when NRM came, Ugandans were thirsty of many things. You just wanted to build your house and stay in peace. That was the preoccupation. Along the way came, the government systems had collapsed. NRM started building slowly. NRM believes in gradual, particularly President Museveni, believes in gradualism. Go slow, in the hope that first of all, people should recover, rebuild the economy, rebuild the foundation. Then you can now start touching what are the things that came by the mistake of government. Nobody has been pointing out things that went wrong by mistakes of government. It has been the president. For example, when he said he accepted wholeheartedly privatization and liberalization. After 40 years, after 30 years now, he discovers that probably it was not good to sell every government manufacturing institution. Government needed to keep a residue. But if you needed the economy to recover, and even the government did not have money to put in a lint marketing board, to put in a coffee marketing board, first sell off, now we are beginning to recover some of what some people call policy reversal.
Right.
And remember, many of the people who came into government at that time, and even today, many of them had never been sold a cow. Just selling one cow, they had never. Now you give him to sell a factory. How can we evaluate a factory? So we accept the mistake. Similarly, we accept some of the laxity with which we handled Ugandans in terms of doing elections. And we've been going slowly saying, no, now we have finished election. You people, Museveni has been saying so. You people have now finished elections, settle down and do things properly. Here is the law, here is the way. Otherwise, why do you think much of the money now is going to low people as a seed capital? That's part of recognition that the people need help. Yes, some of us, we misled them to go into border, into whatever. But now the government is coming back slowly. We hope.
So government has ditched political correctness and they're now going hard on the very voters.
No. We still balance. I just said earlier on here that it's the same president who moved around the country with that woman, Rosa Malango, and said, I have these people in Bukit. In Bukit in particular, because I was involved, I was moving with him. That thing the president keeps talking about, Limoto.
Yes, the Limoto.
That's Limoto in Palisa. That's actually why fish projects now under the PDM is one of the key sectors the president and the government as a whole recommends people with the little land, people who have been do fishing. Because in a small area in this room, you can actually keep up to 5,000 or 4,000. 4,000 fish means that's 4,000 tons. 4,000 tons means that's 40 million if you feed them properly. Because every kilogram of fresh fish is 10,000. So assuming you sell it at 7,000 as a farmer.
It looks very easy to.
It
looks very easy to get land in a wetland if you claim to be building a factory.
Not anymore.
No. But that's why but the president also issued a moratorium. Said the ones we already issued the licenses.
Yes,
they're up and running. Leave them, can make good what we have lost there elsewhere.
Yes,
and you can go and check. You can go and check in the, under Uganda Investment Authority, because now we have almost 22 or so industrial parks run by being managed by government. You can go and find out if in the last 1 year how many investors, local or otherwise, have been licensed in typical wetland.
Thank you.
In fact, 4 years.
Honorable Odonga Otto.
You can go and check.
If you could tell us what you think is at stake politically as NEMA embarks on these ruthless operations.
Actually, you should remind me to ask the ED of NEMA these three questions. One, people are asking me, what is a wetland? Because I'm seeing the feedback on my phone. Some people are growing rice. So you have to come with a clear definition on this show.
What a wetland
is. You want us to dispose of that?
Yeah.
Right away, yeah.
Because Section 2 of the National Environment Act actually defines a wetland. Cap 181. A place which is seasonally or permanently flooded with water. And because of that flooding, plant life has adapted to that environment. And it is very easy to see. Permanent flooding results in papyrus growth. Papyrus is a common indicator for anybody to know that this is a wetland. Sage grass, which we feed cattle. It will not grow in a dry land. It will always grow in areas which have flooding. So you can actually see a wetland by human eye. You don't need to have a microscope.
So is it illegal to grow rice in a wetland? What people are doing up country and what the former vice president of Uganda, Professor Gilbert Bukenya, was mobilizing people all around the country.
Professor Gilbert Bukenya was mobilizing for upland rice, not wetland rice.
That's, you have it in Amuro,
now,
you have it in Amuro.
It is not, it is illegal to grow rice in a wetland without a permit. It is a criminal offense. But under Schedule, I think, 6 of Cap 181, you can actually get a permit to do farming in a wetland. But in 2021, because of pressure on wetlands, government issued a suspension. We do not permit any more activities in wetlands for some time to first see where we are, audit ourselves, put in place correct systems, and then we can open up.
Then
so you don't issue permits?
For now, no.
Okay.
For the last
the second feedback, which we could also make this show of help, the night economy. People claim they have nightlife, they're buying beers from night breweries, they have sound systems. You have moved all around town and you're picking up the public address system that you're killing the nightlife, you're killing taxes. Maybe you also need to talk about environmental noise, about noise pollution and the role of the district officials in that.
Noise pollution, just like water pollution, just like soil pollution, is degradation of environment. We have noise standards for the country, which prescribe maximum decibels for residential areas, for industrial areas, for
and
hospitals.
What is decibels?
Decibels is the measure of sound. A measure of sound. For example,
I know this. I'm a lawyer. I'm just for the view.
For the public.
For you, maybe you don't know this.
For example, a residential,
I know you want to
you should not go beyond say 45 decibels. So you can measure that one. Phones these days can measure decibels. You can have an app to measure decibels. But whoever is complaining about noise, you can report your complaint to your nearest environment office. It can be district environment office. It can be NEMA. We have a hotline. We have a toll-free line. We have our social media handles. When somebody is making noise for you and you are not sure whether it is within the national standards, please register a complaint. We send our inspectors. They come take measurements at the complainant's premises and at the complained against premises. And if the readings are above national standards, we enforce.
Have you encountered cases of the untouchables where you go and they tell you for chamunene?
We don't believe in untouchables because the law does not know size or position. Everyone in Uganda is subject to the law. There is only one person who cannot be touched by law when he's still in office. That's the president. He's the only one above criminal sanction when he's still president. Everyone else is subject to law.
Have you encountered moments where they tell you that go slow?
We've encountered, but we've withered through. We've found places which are guarded. And by the way, those people who say, me, I am big, I'm order from above, most of the time they are masquerading. They don't have orders from above. So never fear them. And we've dealt with them. Because we have the police, we have the army, we have the law. So now, when you say you are big in terms of what? If you've committed an offense, it doesn't matter what your size is. The law will be applied.
I have just one. Okay, fine.
Okay, be it as may, I think Ugandans, we need to be serious and support the campaign for restoration of the environment. I was in Mulago last week. I had gone to the scan section. I wanted to check something on my body. And one of the people on those computers scanning the brains, in 10 minutes, they showed me 3 instances of cancer in young children of 13 years. And cancer which is going to an active stage. So I talked to one of the doctors. He's fairly old. And he said there is a scenario where there is heavy metal being discovered in young children. And for him, he thinks, there is no one who has done a research, probably the PhD students who can pick interest. He thinks that when it rains, this solid waste easily gets into Lake Victoria. The wetland which is to contain them are no more. And I remember there's a time it rained when we were in the Committee of Parliament under LIVEM, Lake Victoria Environmental Management Authority. Coincidentally, we were in that wetland behind Kiambogo. And we saw the rainwater coming with all the dirt.
Yeah.
And it ends up in Lake Victoria.
Yes.
Now, these are eaten by the fish. And because it is metal, heavy metal, it cannot be digested. Even if you dry the fish, the metal is still in the fish.
Yes.
And the young children eat it, and because their body is not very resistant, they develop cancer. So that doctor told me he does not eat fish, except when he goes and picks it from a fish pond. So if we are still raising the moralist argument that, oh, someone is homeless, do you have a heart? What about those ones, the 13-year-old children that are being scanned for cancer? Is it about eating chips? Why is it that children in primary 1, girls' schools, primary 1, primary 2 are asked to go to school with pads. Is the human genotype evolving? There is something changing.
So NEMA deserves its flowers.
They even need a medal. I would be happy if Dr. Kwankwasa and my good friend here, my brother, are called on Independence Day and given medals. These Ugandans have to wake up, because if you're not jealous,
what aren't we reading between the lines as they wake up little late?
My friend, they say a stitch in time saves
9.
Saves 9. So this environmental campaign, this campaign not only for wetlands, campaign for noise pollution, you find in a residential area where there are children growing up, there is loud music. You have put your personal profit ahead of the welfare. During the time of Fondo Pono, they would walk 50 kilometers to go and dance. But now in the neighborhood, you find there is loud music with a bass beam and an amplifier. What future are we making?
Well, we'll take a very short break, and the question that remains unanswered is, after a series of operations, what next? We'll be back.
NBS Frontline.
This is not just a run. This is a movement with purpose. Join us on 30th August 2026 at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds for the Cancer Run 2026. Starting at 6 a.m. Also taking place simultaneously in other districts across Uganda for the completion of the One-Stop Cancer Center at Nsambya Hospital. Registration is only 30,000 Ugandan shillings online using Gonza Pay. Gates are available at all Centenary Bank branches, Capital Shoppers outlets, Bread House branches, the Cancer Run office on Zimwa Road, Muyenga, the Rotary Uganda office at Nick Building, and Rotary clubs across the country. The Rotary Cancer Run 2026 is organized in partnership with the Parliament of Uganda, Centenary Bank, Crystal Water, and Next Media Group.
And that's it for today. Till the next episode.
Odonga like a daily bando, like a daily bando, like a daily bando. Omuliro nguwulira muli mu mutima kukankana like drums. Kalakata, kalakata, endungu ya kusabula. We gonna do free on fire, free on fire, free on fire.
Do not allow deception to sway you. We cannot forfeit our game and give it over to those that belong to the devil. And we have already settled the fact that second place is not our place. We are on the mountaintop! On the mountaintop, I'm telling you!
Watch The Power of Prophecy with Prophet Elvis Mbonye this Saturday, 6:30 p.m. on NBS TV, Uganda.
The National Mosquito Net Distribution Campaign is back. No one should die of malaria in this era. It is your responsibility to chase malaria from your home. The good news is that the government of Uganda has once again started distribution of mosquito nets under the 5th Universal Coverage Campaign, also known as the Under the Net campaign. Under this exercise, one mosquito net will be distributed per 2 people in every household. A village health team member, a community health extension worker, also known as a CHU, and the LC1 chairperson will move house to house to register members of the household in preparation for receiving their mosquito nets. Do not lie back. Ensure that you register all your household members to receive a mosquito net. On the distribution date, move to your distribution point and receive your net. Mosquito nets protect you and your family members from infectious mosquito bites that lead to malaria. Ensure that you receive the net, hang the net, and sleep under the net every night.
Across Uganda, the parish development model is paving the way for prosperity, helping families transform their lives through strategic farming practices, like the 4-acre model.
In our Chivaro of 1996, we said first acre, put coffee. Second acre, fruits. The third acre, you put pasture for dairy cows. The fourth acre, for food, cassava. The good thing is that now cassava is also becoming a very good cash product, but at least for food. Then, mind you, the backyard. You put poultry for eggs, you put piggery.
I'm in a 1-acre plot of land. In this 1 acre, Your Excellency, I practice this banana plantation. I also practice coffee. I also have dairy, Your Excellency. Every month, Your Excellency, I get 500,000 from these bunches.
The 7 activities we recommended, they have a big global demand.
We have 10,000 Nile tilapia fish and 10,000 African catfish. And when we sell our 10,000 tilapia, we get in one harvest 20 million shillings.
Fruits, especially capsule, which is cold, can do very high value crops like apples. And then finally, those who are near the wetlands, like the ones in the Bukit who are wasting the wetlands, they should do fish farming, not in the center of the swamp, but at the edge of the swamp.
From coffee farms to fish ponds, the 4-acre model is empowering Ugandans to transform their lives. The parish development model is your pathway to wealth creation. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance.
NBS Frontline.
Welcome back. It's still the Frontline, and we want to thank you so much for the views that you've expressed so far on all our socials. Let's hear from you what you make of the ongoing operations by NEMA to restore wetlands. Of course, it's coming with ruthlessness, demolitions that are happening. So many people have been left homeless. As we count the cost, we also want to look at the legal and political implications. But well, Mr. Ongol, there have been quite a number of operations of this kind. And then things go back to default mode. Normalcy then resumes. You said you have a sustainability strategic plan. Do we wait to see more ruthlessness coming from agencies like NEMA? Or it involves a bit of education, sensitization?
Okay, I would start by saying, tomorrow if you have time, come we go with you in my vehicle. We just stop where people are degrading. You will see how they are going to run away, meaning they have already been sensitized. They are only doing it because of stubbornness. We just go, and they said this vehicle is from water, so water and environment, and we just stop there. Before we are out, they will not be there. So for awareness, we have created. Other people have chosen to do the other way around.
Is it impunity or ignorance?
It is impunity, not ignorance, it is impunity.
Helplessness.
They are aware.
They are helpless.
Impunity. Maybe that, but they are aware. That one I have to assure you they are aware. Even the radios which we are here, RDCs all over, they have airtime on these radio stations, TV stations. They always talk about environment issues. So there is no language, there is no area which have not been covered with awareness information on wetlands. Then two, like in Lubiji, we have put there now a camp. We have police who are stationed there to try to ward off people not to re-encroach the wetland.
Is it the way to go, or this is just one of the knee-jerk reactions?
That is now because this is the third time we are restoring Lubiji. So to make them not come back, we have put there now a police to make sure they're always making surveillance there. But on a broader aspect, always have a wetlands management plan. In the wetlands management plan, we do cater for the various uses and users, so that at the end of the day, the wetland is sustainably used and not re-encroached and degraded. So as a sustainability plan now, after restoring, we come out with a management plan that would take care of the various users. Then there was something you were talking about. The country, there are areas where people value wetlands and they don't want it even degraded. Mostly in people who are cattle keepers, because during dry season, that is where the animals derive, that's where they graze the animals during the dry season. So for them, they don't want it converted into rice fields, because that is where they survive during dry season. So in such cases, they always applaud restoration. They always applaud the community.
So who is failing the restoration campaign?
I could say people who are mostly in urban settings. Maybe because of land issues, the pressure of the cost of land, they see us as a cheap place where they can buy land and settle. I believe if we would have a physical planning that would zone and maybe have land for low-income people, gazetted somewhere, the pressure on wetlands would reduce.
Thank you. Honorable Odonga Otto, do you imagine that the impunity that had become typical of NRM is now being reversed?
The other week I was home. I've noted that all the village criminals, the one we know, they are pickpockets, they all put on Museveni shirts from Monday to Monday. Most of the criminals that we know that are thieves, looters, in the village, they now put on yellow from Monday to Monday. So it looks like most of the wrongdoers have found it convenient to put on yellow. That if you don't put on yellow like some of us, you must have a very strong backbone. Because like if Ufondopono tries to put on blue and to talk that is FDC, they will remind him what he did at Media Center. They say, hello, you can just go and record a charge and caution statement at Kibuli, then you just say, let me just put on yellow. So I have sympathized with those in NEMA because it is a delicate balance between the yellowness of the country and the importance of the environment.
Balancing politics.
Yes. So it brings me to two suggestions. One, there should be a very strong interministerial planning. I don't know what the National Planning Authority is doing. We need to do something to stop rural-urban migration. In Sweden, they have managed, I explored the system, they now have centrums in every, let me say, parish. Centrum is like a center where there is Nambole Stadium, there is Garden City, there is Oasis. So you miss nothing. So what we see in Mbale, the industrial park, or what the great things General Salim Saleh is doing at Kapeka. If you've gone to Kapeka in the evening hours, you may think you're in South Africa. So we need more of such targeted investments to stop rural to urban migration. We want the last people to come to Kampala like Ufondopono for nothing, just to see the buildings, then they ended up sticking. Should stop. You must have a plan.
The people have come from Maru, and now they have to drive to here only for this show.
No, by the way, I came to Kampala in 1981. My parents were in the last government. Some of you, maybe you came in 92, when now, what? But that's not the issue. So I'm saying there has to be a deliberate effort to stop rural-urban migration. And National Planning Authority should help us to tell us, the next government, population control. Because the population is expanding too fast. Simon, this is weird. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 men here. I would not be surprised if we have 30 children. Just 5 of us.
Each of us? Or?
No, all of us combined. I have 6. So for the problem, I have like 15. That's already 21. I don't want to add. So population control. People are overproducing. We need the government to say any university graduate who produces 2 children will get a support of 1 million shillings so that people start rewiring their heads. And we need, NEMA, you need to reach out to the religious leaders. When America is going to fight in Iran, the mobilization is not done at the Chankwanzi of the US. The mobilization is done in churches. You hear all those bishops saying, we are going to war. They don't say we are fighting. They say we are going to war. They come in Iran and fight and then they go back. So the mobilization should be through the churches. The bishops like T.D. Jakes, Mayor, Pastor Mayor, Joyce Mayor, they don't say God protect the enemies, fighting is bad. No. Because they meet and say now we need to fight this war. So NEMA, you should start speaking through churches. I don't know whether you have any provident fund you give to these religious leaders. You organize a capacity building workshop so that in their white cassocks, they can start telling people that God said we should protect the environment.
It's important. Yeah.
Because if we are using the stick every day, even now as we are talking, someone is already what?
Building.
And lastly, Ufondo Pondo, you are in parliament. You should not just be there to get salary and go to Mulanda. What? Probably we even need now allowances to be given to the hardware before someone buys cement. We may have to go that far. You just don't come and say, give me 50 bags of cement. We now need to say anything beyond 20 bags of cement. You need a certificate, maybe from NEMA or from what? Because what are you going to do with the 50 bags of cement? Or you bring the approved building and housing plan to the cement stores. The same way you don't go to the pharmacy and say, give me Crixivan. They need a letter from a recognized medical personnel. So these are some of the philosophical thoughts we are generating to solve this problem.
Government doesn't seem to cure the problems that facilitate rural-urban migration. Most of the people whose houses are being demolished came from villages.
Even here, we would have, you see?
So how about you go backwards and first solve the problem before it escalates?
Well, you see, a member of parliament for 20 years, he lost his seat 8 years ago, but he keeps in Kampala. He can't settle in Aru. Mindset. If for 20 years he believed that a good opportunity is only in Kampala.
That's a hard one.
He did not prepare.
But we are only 3 international sports lawyers in the whole of Uganda. What business would I be having in Aru? I should be here. Actually, I even plan to take the next plane to Madrid after the World Cup.
You can see where he has invested in the skills that his country least needs, at least for now. But then that's another matter. For government, you have had government, and particularly Development Plan 3, Development Plan 4 now, talking of diversification of activities, economic activities that the ordinary Ugandan should engage in. Things that can bring you money. If not daily, at least weekly. If not weekly, at least monthly. Things that you can sell, first and foremost, in the communities where you live. Some form of specialization, if possible. Some form of processing, if possible. And the links to market. You need to read Development Plan 4. You had at the State of the Nation, the President, giving a clarion call to leaders. Because part of our problem is that by mindset, there are leaders in critical positions, but who have no clue which direction the government should take or is taking. There are those who, when you listen to them on the floor of parliament, public speeches, they think that developing Uganda should be the responsibility of certain people, not theirs. So we all need to get to that, and I think if we get to that, by the end of Development Plan 4, we should have at least 40, 50, 60% of particularly the rural communities engaged in commercial activities.
If Development Plan 3 was dismally performed.
No. That achieved something, probably not as planned, but achieved something. Why? Part of the reason why you don't hear a lot of people crying over perennial hunger, household hunger, is the achievement of Development Plans 1, 2, and 3. When you hear that our revenue collection has increased, not yet sufficient, but has increased, we can now pay school teachers from our collections. We now pay all the police officers, all people in security. We don't wait for Commonwealth to train, to recruit and train, deploy and pay. No, we pay from. It means that something is going on, not yet sufficient, not at the rate that we want. So if we can all put effort, particularly the leaders, and 60% of the households have income, I think what Odonga Otto is suggesting will be achievable.
Yeah, but
will be achievable. Today, go to Guru. I don't know if you travel. Go to Mbarara, go to Kabale. There is no place any longer in Uganda, I travel a lot, where somebody can say it is too far to invest. Today, even if you go to Karamoja, where people used to have even a hardship allowance, today if you take a young person, 23, 32, with good mindset, they would wish they stay in Karamoja and invest there and not come to this congested Kampala. So something is going on, but we need businesses to be mentored.
I think the country has swung into shock therapy politics, if I could borrow your word.
No,
is that the new fashion?
No. Shock therapy, we use it, medical people use it. But it's not the main thing for treatment. It is designed for specific type of...
it is what is happening now.
Yes. So I think the issue is, if we're applying shock therapy, for how long and on which parts? And what do we have after the shock therapy? That's why I referred you to Development Plan 4. And particularly what the president repeats himself. And some people say, why is he repeating? The Bible you are reading has been read for the last 2,000 years. The Quran you are reading has been... The Muslims even go back 7 times a day to recite the same thing. Why? Because people haven't understood. People haven't committed to it. So, the message of the president, if we stick to it and we follow what Honorable Odonga Otto talked about, we shall begin to find that increasingly many Ugandans are investing in their villages, in their districts, and that will cause that staying. Today, there are many people who say, no, I will open my shop in Guru because Guru, you can now make money. I don't have to come to Chikubo. Me, I'm not in Chikubo there. You have heard me. I'm telling you that I'm in Kapelebyong. I'm actually making money in Kapelebyong than in the Kampala.
Well, thank you. As we cross to Afromobile, do you care about public perception? Because the public looks at NEMA as very...
NBS Frontline. NBS. Always.
The Kabalega petrol-based industrial park is set to transform Uganda's oil and industrial future. But what opportunities does it offer investors, and what could it mean for the country's economy? Let's put that into perspective. You are most welcome. This is Business Perspective, and I am Isabella Tuguru.
For decades, Uganda's oil and gas dream remained just that, a dream. Today, that vision is steadily becoming reality. From upstream oil production to the refinery, the East African crude oil pipeline, and supporting infrastructure, the country is building an integrated energy economy designed to unlock billions of dollars. Industrial Park is strategically positioned at the center of Uganda's oil and gas developments. It sits adjacent to the planned 60,000 barrel per day Uganda refinery, hosts EACOP Pump Station No. 1, and is connected to Kabalega International Airport